And in my organization, when I'm talking to people in other sectors, they seem to think that I think that everything in their sector evolves around water and sanitation, which I do to some extent. But we need to see the great synergy that's involved with these different sectors, the improvements that water and sanitation can provide. In nutrition, with malnutrition and underweight children, 40 to 50% of the cause of underweight and stunting is from repeated diarrheal disease that will not allow children to catch up on growth after they have a diarrheal disease incident. And this is a vicious cycle because when children are trying to recover from a diarrheal disease incident, then they need good nutrition to help them with that. But if they do not have the good nutrition, then it's a continual spiral. So they lose more and more ground and lose more weight and continue to go through stunting. And so these different sectors are very connected. And we have to think about the improvements that can be gained with addressing water and sanitation and being able to address the other sectors of nutrition. Education was mentioned earlier. There's almost 500 million school days which are missed due to diarrheal disease alone. And so there's a huge toll in education around the world because of water and sanitation needs. And there's also, and that's just from diarrheal disease, and there's the additional school days which are missed from children who are carrying water. Or one of my associates in West Africa talks about when he carried water and he had to fetch water before he went to school, but then he was very tired, so when he went to school, he would fall asleep. So there's a huge toll in education, in other forms of health, in economic development. About 5% of the potential productive days in Africa are lost due to water and sanitation related diseases. And so 5% of that productive time is lost just from water and sanitation issues. And so you look at all of this and you see how interrelated water and sanitation is to the life of a community. I'm just back from Africa. I was there for 24 days doing evaluations of some of our projects, both in Southern Africa and in West Africa. And in one of the communities, there was a statement that really surprised me. We were asking about what benefits the community had seen because of the water project there. And one of the men said, now that we have this water system in our community, we are more civilized. And it was a very strange answer to me, this comment, a more civilized. But I've reflected on that and thought about the things that the communities were talking about in that area. Water is a great potential for peace building. Well, in these communities, the peace building was not conflicts between neighboring communities or neighboring countries. These were conflicts with neighbors. When one traditional well would go dry, then those people would use the well of their neighbor, which they were not welcome to do that because those people were concerned that their water would go dry. And with the new water system, people had peace with their neighbors because they were not having to use the wells that their neighbors used. And another lady talked about previously when she had to walk very long distances to retrieve water. then her husband would become angry with her and think that she was going off with another man because she was gone for a long time, but she was going to fetch water. And so it brought peace to that home. And so water and sanitation improvements have a synergistic effect to bring a overall wellness and improvement of the psychological health and the community health, which then also provides improvements in physical health. So anyway, that's some thoughts that I had. But again, as we think about these numbers of hundreds of millions of people and billions of people, we need to think about individuals. And for different reasons, there were two girls. I was in a remote village years ago, and there were two little girls, and there was a 5-year-old holding her 2-year-old sister, and her 2-year-old sister was lifeless. And I asked what was wrong with the younger girl, and they said, you know, she keeps having diarrheal disease. And this was a remote area, and there was not an opportunity for the organization I was with at the time to work further in that area. And the community was not open to having better sanitation because of some of their beliefs. And I looked at that little girl and I wondered if she was going to make it to 3-year-old or 4-year-olds. And I see my little girls, and my 7-year-old tries to hold her 2-year-old sister, and she can't do it because our 2-year-old is such a rascal and running off. But somehow I've connected those two strong girls that are in my family with these two girls in this remote village, and I think about them often, and they provide me motivation for continuing to work in this field and continuing to tackle this problem one community at a time as we build capacity in communities so that they can address their water and sanitation needs over a long term. So again, as we think about these millions of people, these billions of people, please think about those individuals, those little girls and those little boys that need this help so desperately. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ron. That was, I think, a very enlightening and revealing intervention. I noticed that I'm, in addition to what it says in the program, I'm also a member of the board of Engineers Without Borders. And the comment you made, one community at a time, is also a slogan of Engineers Without Borders. So I think it's very relevant. Thank you. Now, I'd like to introduce the third speaker in our panel, Ms. Donna Barry. Ms. Barry is the Advocacy and Policy Director at Partners in Health, where she has been working since 2001. She previously led the Partners in Health project to treat multi-drug resistant tuberculosis in Russia and was co-director of the PIH's Women's Health Program in Haiti. She is guiding PIH's advocacy and policy efforts related to health and hunger, socioeconomic development in Haiti, increasing the pool of funding for global health and the healthcare worker shortage. Without any further ado, I'd like to introduce Donna. Thank you. Oh, thank you. You're over here now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I can't believe I have a typo on my first slide. So please, we're gonna skip off that one right away. Excuse me.
Can we get the slides up here,
Okay. Oh, good. Nobody saw it, actually. I didn't even have to point it out. So thank you very much. For those of you not familiar with Partners in Health, we're a nonprofit organization that's based in Boston. We've been working in international health for about 25 years now. Started off in Haiti and have now moved into 11 other countries where we're working. Not nearly as large as the the organizations I'm up here on the podium with.